What's good, people? This is the Rap Roundtable. Your boy Jaw here, Sincere Rap Snob, Dini the Balance, the homie Mace. We just want to make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, comment, help us get our numbers up. We're trying to get 2,000 subs, 5,000. Y'all know how this go. If y'all think we're good and y'all love the content, some of y'all always say, yo, how come y'all don't have more views? It's because y'all don't sub. So make sure y'all do that and tap in with us. Peace.
The Rap Roundtable.
25 years since one of the pillars of East Coast hip-hop dropped. Arguably, maybe the standard album of East Coast hip-hop. Some might want to say The Blueprint. Some might want to say Illmatic. These are fair arguments. But Life After Death, is there a double album as good as that? Some people say it's a lot of skips. There's an argument there that there's a lot of skips on this album. There's also an argument there that says that this is the greatest double album made by a rapper ever. Sincere the Rap Snob. You knew I was coming to you first.
Yes, man.
Life After Death 25. Let's work.
March 25th, 25 years since, and I will quote I'm saying it, the greatest double album to ever come out.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow, bro.
You could talk about
crazy,
your,
bro.
I don't know, your Tupacs, your Wu-Tangs. Who else dropped? There was somebody else that dropped.
Don't put Jay-Z in that. Don't put Jay-Z in that.
That's right. Jay-Z, Nas.
Blueprint 2 is not good.
Life After Death is just like an opus. But I want to talk real quick about, because we talk. I mean, obviously we talk as a Jay-Z fan here, Nas fan here. A lot of heavy Jay-Z Nas talk. They're still active. Biggie, has been gone for 25 years. God bless the dead. But we don't talk enough about the glow up that Big had between Ready to Die and Life After Death.
A believable glow up at that.
Bro, I was just listening to those two albums back to back, and as much as I love Ready to Die and its grittiness, its griminess, the street tales, there's just a level of production and expertise rap that is on Life After Death that to me is just like there's never been anything since that like it. Since.
Wow.
In terms of
bro. That's crazy.
In terms of the level of expertise rap on that album, what's matching that?
I don't see it. Illmatic.
I don't. No, since
that. It's tough. Blueprint is up there.
Expertise
rapping. Hope didn't get off on Blueprint.
He did, but it's not to that level. So the reason I say that is because from the opening song, it always struck me as a little strange that the first song was a storytelling narrative song, because that was a little that people didn't really do that
back when stories mattered.
But even then, you wouldn't kick off an album with a story. But I think it set the tone for how cinematic the album was going to be. It set the tone for the high level of production value, not just production in terms of beats and music, but production value. Because every last bit of detail sonically, again, not just the beats and the instrumentation, but the sound effects, the rain falling in the background, the hearing the Lear jet, the dogs barking, that level of detail is just immaculate. It really is like an hour and 49 minutes of
cinema.
Big telling you and showing you how he's the best rapper alive in the game. And ever since then, I really don't see. I mean, we could talk about the Blueprint. We could talk about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. There's things that can contend with it, but I can't see any album definitively being at its level or better than that. Wow. Some people might say there are some skips. You know what I mean? You have songs like Another on the second side, the second disc. Again, for you youngins out there, this used to be a double CD, double album, double disc.
Another's heat.
disc A and disc B. Now in the streaming era is just like one whole album, 1 to 24. You had Nasty Boy. Nasty Boy really grew on me. The only one I could really say that like didn't totally grow on me, but I'll still listen to it is another. Player Hater. I know there's some people that hate that joint. I loved it from the very first time I heard it. I thought it was hilarious. Big, like really just showing his range and his comedic side. Like people will listen to that song and like take it seriously, not take it as like the satire that it is.
Yes.
Like, how do you not understand that that's satire? You know what I mean? I could go on and on about this album. I love it like with all my heart. So some people will say that like the Source only gave this album 5 mics because he had just passed away. That's horseshit. They gave this album 5 mics because they didn't have 6 mics to give.
Oh, wow.
This is just a magnum opus of an album. Shout out to everybody involved. Shout out to the Hitmen, D-Dot, Nassim, Stevie J, Chucky Thompson, R.I.P. Shout out to Puff for putting them together. Don't ever let anybody tell you that Puff does not deserve credit for the music that came out of Bad Boy. He absolutely, people will say he's not a real producer. That's going to be a whole other conversation, but he is absolutely 100% the mastermind behind putting Big and this team of producers together to give you this kind of masterful album. He was like the Nick Fury to the Avengers when it came to the Hitmen.
There it is.
You also had Primo and RZA and Havoc and Easy Mo B, Clark Kent and KG. Shout out to every single last engineer that worked on this album because, oh my God, sonically it's just like so godly.
I got a bar, but I'm gonna wait till it's my turn.
I'm about to wrap it up. I can't say enough about this album. B.I.G. forever, R.I.P. 25 years since one of the greatest albums and the greatest rapper to ever live dropped it.
Talk your shit, Sin. You gotta pour us out. Like, Sin been waiting to do this.
Yeah.
Sin hit me a month ago about this fucking segment. Literally a month ago, bro. Like, I'm not even bullshitting. He was like, Ready to Die, certain 25 years. We gotta talk about it. We was on episode 40 at the time. Deanie, your thoughts?
My brother Sincere covered all the technical aspects of it, so I'm going to cover the emotional aspect of it. I'm looking at 24 records. I'm seeing like 24 singles of my life, bro.
Wow.
I mean, I remember as a kid going to parties. I remember the first time I heard Player Hater was at a party when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And everybody's listening to it, and the parents are looking around, but it's big, so you can't cut it off.
Right.
And all the kids are listening to it like, yo, this is entertaining.
Right.
And we vibed out to it. I mean, you said you don't like another, but another.
I'm saying in the grand scheme of the whole album.
Going back to Cali, 10 Crack for Magnum.
Bro.
Notorious Thugs, a lot of people front, but at the time, bro, I was there, bro. That song was monstrous for the streets, bro.
Yeah.
Biggie with that flow.
Who fronts on it?
What?
I've never heard anybody front on that, bro.
People stay front, especially from the Bone Thugs aspect.
I'd like to meet people because I've never heard that.
I argue this a lot because I love the Bone Thugs. But
yo, if you front on that song, drop it in the comments. Let us know.
Not
that
only do you
flow.
drop it in the comments, you're an ass.
Yeah, we'll flame you next episode. That's how
to second what Sin said, it might be the greatest encapsulation of the grit and the glam in one album. Like the way I feel like the only person that captures that the same way is maybe like Hove.
Right.
But the way Biggie put this together, man. I mean, the way even the party songs had deep messages, had signs, introspection, and like the sense of Benny, it was more like it was a sense of this is what I did and I'm guilty of this, but it's gotta feed my daughter.
Right.
I gotta get right. I gotta. I'm the man. I gotta glit. I gotta glam.
Right.
Big was the
sky's the limit. Talk about that crazy.
The glittery one.
Big was the blueprint.
You know what I'm saying?
In a lot of ways for the modern New York rapper, how to be swagged out, how to have bars, how to have presence, how to have gear, how to dress, etc.
Wearing suits like sky's the limit. The world is filled. My downfall. Long kiss. Shout out to RZA. I mean, come on, bro. Like.
Oh, one more thing to add. The greatest closeout of any album Those last
nobody.
3 tracks, My Downfall, Long Kick. Just when you thought he was getting a little soft, because it was Sky's the Limit. It was Play Hater than Nasty Boy, Sky's the Limit, and then The World Is Filled. So you thought, he left all the hard joints in the back, right? And then he hit you with My Downfall, Last Kiss Goodnight, and You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You to close it out.
The perfect encapsulation
Phenomenal.
of the streets and the glam.
I look at this album and Sin. The first thing Sin hit on that stood out to me was the cinematic aspect of the album, and I feel like, with the exception of maybe early Eminem, like the proper use of sound effects, that was a Bad Boy staple. If you go through a lot of the late 90s Bad Boy albums, even Mace, Black Rob, G-Dep, they use sound effects perfectly. They made you, even if you didn't care about the rapper, they made you feel the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like you Sin talked about, like the sound, like with the plane flying and all of this and that. It's like you can hear music, or you can hear a moment in time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
An hour and 49 minutes is a long time.
It is.
And for an hour and 45 minutes, it took you on a journey, and not with just bars and beats, sound effects. All right, we going here, we doing this, the shots fired, and if it wasn't an actual sound effect, it was Diddy in the background doing something.
Right.
It was, before we had the slang calling it a vibe, Diddy was the original vibe of hip hop. And he made sure, like, those little things, like attention to detail. Like, even now when I talk to rappers, I talk to actual rappers, and I listen to their music, I still hear those sound effects. I'm like, why don't you put that there? Why don't you do that there?
Right,
because
right.
of the influence of the Hitman, Diddy, all these guys, making sure that you had every bass covered. Dolby surround sound system. Boom.
Facts.
The first time I heard this album, it was with my older cousin Wes. He had it on cassette. And I played it. And again, this is 97. I'm like, 13 at the time? I might have been 12 even, because I wasn't 13 yet. And it's like, I was super impressed by just like the beat selection. Because again, I wasn't a Biggie fan until I went backwards. I didn't care about Biggie like that. I was listening to Wu. I was listening to Prodigy and Mobb Deep.
Nas.
I didn't got it. I'm joking.
We love
I'm
Nas.
joking. It Was Written as fire. I love It Was Written.
Amazing.
But listening to the album was like, even if I was too stupid to appreciate greatness, I was hooked. Ironically, the song that made me realize, and I knew right away what it was, that this album is something else, was Player Hater. Because you have to be a certain kind of individual to do that song.
Right, exactly.
Biggie is fucking hilarious. Right? And then when I got older and I went to the studio and I was managing artists, or 2 artists actually, and understanding what it is to make that kind of song in the studio, you got to be a certain kind of person. You can't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
Fully
You got to
yourself.
be free.
Yes. Player Hater. You must know we need this much. Like, that song is fucking amazing. If you don't like Player Hater, you're an idiot. Because that means you didn't get the joke.
Right.
Right? Niggas bleed. To this fucking day.
Just like us.
To this day. That's one of the most referenced songs in hip-hop history, bro.
That's a fact.
And he did that on his second album. What's being lost in all of this is that Life After Death was his second album. He wasn't 5 albums in.
That's
6 albums in with Life Experience.
Fucking wild.
Second album. Talking
Open the
about this
door.
type of shit.
23, 24.
What the fuck? To have the dexterity to go reach out to a Bone Thug. Shout out to Fat Joe, who said he made that connection. To
facts.
flex his ability to get in the pocket with a Bone Thug.
That's fire.
Kick in the door.
And this is why I'm saying, like, Big.
How do you have all of these songs on one album?
Big
Yo,
was the
Big.
ultimate shogun, because the nerve of him to start with "Somebody's Gotta Die," a storytelling track, like not an intro, not like, "Yo, I'm the nicest. Y'all ain't fucking with me." No, he's showing you how y'all not fucking with him by starting off with one of the illest narrative tracks,
Come
and then as ill as that, I remember hearing it the first time. I was like, "Yo, this story's crazy." But then it ended up being like the second or third best story on the album because it also has Niggas Bleed and I Got a Story to Tell. The nerve of him.
I got a story to tell, bro. The audacity even further to have a Kick in the Door on an album, but then have a What's Beef on an album. One of Diddy's best performances on a song he didn't rap on. He set the tone for that song before Biggie rapped a bar.
Even the Bobby joints bars are just ridiculous.
Do you know what beef is,
Yeah.
Dini?
I know what sidewalk beef is.
Son! Again, once I got older and started to really understand rap and I went back, Biggie's album, this double album, was so great that it kind of became the standard for rappers. And what I mean is, if Sincere the Rap Snob is one of the best rappers in the world, he owes us a double album because Biggie set the template that in order to get to this, to reach certain levels, hit certain markers, a double album is owed. Fair is fair. Tupac is part of that equation too because he gave it to us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But the better double album is Life After Death. Argue with your fucking moms.
It is
Don't
what it
argue
is.
with me.
It is what it is.
You know what I'm saying?
It is
To
what
give
it
you
is.
that, I got a story to tell. The Chris Childs interlude. She wanted me to shit on her stomach. All of this type of shit. Come on.
So after our shits on
The fact that
So
I Love the
after
Dough
shit-
with Jay-Z wasn't even a single. It was an album cut. And it's one of the most all-time greatest collaborations of all time.
That's Jay with the locks.
You know what I'm saying? I'm playing the song by accident. Apple Music don't find us. Sky's the limit. Nasty Boy. Then still having the temerity to give you 10 crack commandments to bring it full circle for what Benny did with 10 more commandments. People don't even, they talk about that song individually, not realizing this is all part of one You know how many songs get referenced from this one album?
Going back to Cali and the meaning
Going back
behind
to
the record.
Cali.
I mean,
Niggas in the NBA, when you
he
go to the
talk-
finals, you play the Lakers, they play that song.
Going
bro,
back,
he dropped the story joint to start the album. Then he went and talked to the club. Then he went and talked to the heads, the underground heads, kicking the door. Then he went and talked to the ladies on Fucking You Tonight. Then he went just straight
that song.
street
Yeah.
on the
Before
locks.
Jay-Z and Hov, it was Hov. Before Jay-Z and Kells, it was Kells and
Play
Biggie.
And this-
Monopoly
and this-
with real cash.
And then this and the sequencing, like if you look at the sequencing, it's just like he keeps the you think the album is gonna, go one way, and then the next song he takes you in a different direction than what you thought it was gonna be, and then you might be like, oh, I kind of wanted another street joint, but now he's on this club tip. I don't know if I want to hear that, but then the song is so fucking good that it's like, oh, all right, this is actually exactly what I wanted.
Yo, we talking about all of these songs, right? And we didn't even talk about the fucking singles.
Bro,
Hypnotized.
They're like every
hypnotized.
song damn near like a single.
And
in my
I mean,
life, bro.
the
More
world,
money, more problems.
the world has played More Money, More Problems into the ground. So, you know what I mean? Like listening to it now is like, all right, I've heard this like a bajillion times, but
It needs to be
Still.
discussed.
I remember
Still
the
love it.
first time hearing it, and I was like, yo, this is just I can't wait for this to be on at the party
And then the
so I
golfing
can
video.
fucking dance to this shit, bro.
Bro, more money, more problems set the tone for Mace.
Then he talked to the
did.
Midwest, Notorious Thugs. Then he got sentimental. A lot of people talk about how Big didn't really get like introspective or sentimental or nothing
he
like
did.
that.
Every
That's
bar.
bullshit.
Sky's the
That's
Limit's
fucking
a prime
bullshit.
example.
You got Juicy, you got Sky's the Limit, you got Miss You, you got Suicidal Thoughts from the first album. Like, what? How much deeper do you want than fucking Suicidal
To me,
Thoughts?
every bar Biggie ever rapped came with like a little sense of regret. Like, whereas Jay was this cocky ass nigga, and Big could be cocky. Big was definitely big homie who really, he was talking to you. He made you feel like an equal, but don't necessarily do what I did. I had a reason for the shit I did. There was always,
Right.
maybe not regret, but he had a fucking purpose and a reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he conveyed that with bar after bar after bar. I never got cocky, arrogant from Big. I got swag.
Yeah.
But not super cocky, arrogant, untouchable nigga like Jay. Jay niggas, like when Jay dropped in 96, like, who the fuck is this nigga?
Jay
The nerve
upped
of
the
to
ante.
rap like
That's
this.
Talk about this.
Right.
Who are you?
Jay upped the ante with that.
Right. Big always let you know what it was. He was the first nigga giving you ground level bars to me from a Hustlers perspective.
Introspection, fat and ugly as ever.
Come on.
Right.
However, I stay coochie
But with
down to the
that
socks.
level of expertise and production behind them, you know what I mean? Like,
Bro.
and again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Not enough is said about Big's musicianship,
Yes.
because the way he rapped was like he was a jazz musician with the timing and the swing and the pocket. It was just absolute. Like if you don't listen to jazz, you might not catch it. You might not get. But if you listen to even like a little bit of like, you know, great jazz, it's that same musicianship that, you know, all the jazz legends had. Big had that shit, and he had an OG that was a jazz musician that was teaching them in the hood.
Also, you gotta count in the Caribbean influence, being Jamaican, listening to reggae music, dancehall
Just
music.
thinking about that too.
All of that
Facts.
tying into the persona that was the Notorious B.I.G. You know what I'm saying? Like this album, 5 mics, like Sin said, if it could be 6, it would be 6. Again, we understand what the culture is. A lot of people want to be contrarians. There's a lot of revisionist history in modern times. But again, a lot of y'all weren't outside, no disrespect. For those who were outside, they knew what that album was. They know what that album is.
It was everything you needed.
It's a pillar of hip hop.